Welcome, everyone, to PFL 2025 Tournament Night 7. Fabian Edwards and Josh Silveira is your main event. We're going to go through all of these fights and break them down. So you guys hit that like button, leave us a comment. Tell us what your best bet is tonight. If you got any juicy underdogs, tell us those. There's a couple, not a lot, though, on this card. I feel like this could be pretty chalky. There's always a couple of upsets, but we'll start with the main event here, Fabian Edwards and Josh Silveira. Jim, I'll go to you first. What's your take on this fight?
It's fade the Cinderella at the ball, Josh Silveira time of year again. Is he going to win one more and then lose the championship? I just don't believe I don't believe this guy will ever win the whole freaking thing. He's just the bridesmaid of PFL. A lot of people say that he gets the chances he does because of his father and his relationship with American Top Team. Josh just does what he does. They talk about his wrestling. They talk about his pedigree. And then he goes out there and fights are dirty. They're ugly. It's stalling. It's very boring. A lot of pitter-patter striking. He's got a head like a cement block, so he's impossible to knock out. And he's going up against Fabian Edwards, who I believe is going to outclass him. Josh, the only way that he could sneak this fight in is by decision, and you're going against somebody who makes their bones by decision here. Impa walked into a buzzsaw his last fight. Horrible game plan to go in and just rush Edwards the way he did. He didn't even give himself a chance to really ease into that fight. Got clipped early and was never the same. Level of competition's huge for Fabian Edwards. Way better than Josh's. I like Fabian, man, but I do believe it goes to decision. The over 2.5 is my favorite bet in this fight. Take this fight to go the distance. Give me Fabian by decision.
I mean, we have to do this every Josh Silveira fight. So gets the breaks beaten off him by Impa. Loses a split to Rob Wilkinson in that terrible Utah card where they were just gassed. Everyone was gassed from the very beginning. So, all right, there's two losses. Gets credited with a first-round knockout. Quesada Busi breaks his thumb and taps quicker than anybody has ever tapped in the history of PFL. Again, gets breaks beaten off by Impa. Beats Ty Flores, but what it doesn't show you is that Josh was dying. If this fight didn't end in the first round, Josh was dead, and Ty Flores is gonna waltz to a decision win or maybe get the knockout because Josh was gassed. But again, he lands the Hail Mary knee, gets credited first round knockout. Delon Monte, Josh Silveira does nothing to him. Monte steps back, tears his knee. Again, he gets credited with a first round knockout, and then he knocks out Sam Key, who is just an all-time horrible fighter. I mean, this guy was getting knocked out by Navajo Sterling in Hex fight series, and Sterling's like fourth fight ever. So those are your wins from Josh Silveira. Like, seriously. That being said, if I'm trying to find underdogs, this line has gotten so out of control. I'm not laying minus 600 on Fabian Edwards. I actually think now there is a little bit of, I hate using the word value, but one thing that Silveira can do is he can clinch and he can wrestle. And I've watched Fabian Edwards accept position against the fence. He did a lot of that against Impa. Impa held him up against the fence for quite a bit in the first round. And then, Impa made a big mistake, and you can't do that. Fabian Edwards can be very low volume at times. And credit to Josh. That was a legit win against Shipman. Is Shipman the greatest in the world? No, but give him credit. That guy's 17-4. He's seen a lot. And Silveira did get the wrestling going. That's how he won that fight. I agree with you. This goes to decision. And in PFL, we've seen decisions go really, really wonky. I could see this being a situation where Josh wins around with his wrestling, where Fabian wins around with his striking, and then a close, second round or something, and I would much rather be holding the dog ticket. I thought we made a great bet on Karl Williams against Popov, and most people agreed, even though they gave Popov the win, which was a travesty. But what did we say? When it goes to those greasy decisions, wouldn't you much rather be holding the underdog rather than the favorite? So I think this could be a very, very close fight. I agree the over is the way to go. Like you said, Josh is just cinder block head, man. You're not going to knock him out. I don't think Fabian Edwards is going to knock him out. So if I'm forced to pick here, I'm taking Josh Silveira just because this number just keeps climbing up and it's over plus 400. So I'll take it Silveira. But I agree with you. The best play is the over. This fight to go the distance, I think, is a really, really good play. My old buddy Sergio Pettis faces off against Raufeon Stots. Where do you know what Sergio Pettis just lost at? If this tells you where he's at in his career.
Boxing, right? Wasn't it boxing?
Yeah.
He had a boxing match?
Yeah. Road to IPBL2. To me, that says your best days are behind you, and now you're not a fighter. You're a paycheck collector, and you're getting fights because of your name only. That is not anybody that I could get behind. Lost to Patchy Mix, lost to Horiguchi, and now he's doing these boxing matches. Love Sergio Pettis. He was nice enough to let me do a documentary on him when he first got into the UFC. Him and his brother could not have been more gracious. Super awesome guys. I would love to hang out with those guys. But this is a betting show, and it's Raufeon Stots all day for me in this one. What about you?
I have nothing more to add. You literally took it. You got me already. Stots is still in his career. He's in this current career of MMA. There's no side hustle. There's no going off and doing different things. And like, again, let's not downplay it. Raufeon Stots is one of the best bantamweights in the world. This isn't like you're taking Pettis, you're fading Pettis with somebody who's decent. Stots is good, man. He's really, really good. So I agree with you. I think Stots wins in this fight. I don't see somebody getting finished. I think this is going the distance. I think they're both crafty enough. Stots is a great grappler, but he is control over submission. So he will hold Pettis down and hold him down. Maybe round 3 if he maybe grab one. But Pettis is shown to be able to work out of things. So yeah, I like Stots by decision in this spot, especially in these low weight classes.
All right, Phil Davis and Sullivan Cauley. I'll let you go first because I have no idea.
Well, Phil Davis, the knockout artist, Phil Davis, who knocked out the non-steroid filled body of Rob Wilkinson in his last fight. Talk about somebody who doesn't have to admit that the steroids were all of his career. Because look what happens as soon as Wilkinson's not on the juice. Boy, does he look like a much less intimidating fighter getting knocked out by Phil Davis. When was Phil's last knockout before Rob Wilkinson?
Our good friend Karl Albrektsson, who we're going to get to in a minute.
I wasn't even married when Phil Davis got his last knockout, all right? We were getting ready to get married that year. And then Rob just gets sparked by Phil. That chin's just not there. Different kind of guy. I think Sullivan Cauley is live in this fight. More live than people think he is. The bottom line is he's way younger. He is a college wrestler, an American college wrestler, not a guy who's wrestling in Australia or England. And say what you will, but that is Phil Davis as well. They're collegiate wrestlers. So if this does turn into a wrestling match, Cauley can hang with him. And when it comes to punching power, Cauley clearly has the advantage. Much better boxer. So we have age, we have the ability to stuff the wrestling, and we have the much harder hitting hands. I think Cauley is live. That being said, I'm not jumping in front of Phil Davis because we might just see one of the few former PFL guys come in here and just destroy everybody on their way to the title and make it look easy. This division is kind of weak, so it wouldn't shock me to see Phil Davis just run through somebody again. But I will say tread lightly as far as parlaying Phil Davis in this spot. I believe that Wilkinson or Cauley is way more live than people think he is.
Yeah, former Bellator coming into PFL for Phil Davis here. Yeah, that fight against Corey Anderson was close, man. That was a really good performance Phil Davis put on. So, yeah, I know what you're saying against Rob Wilkinson, but credit to him. He did what he was supposed to do. You go knock out the non-steroided Rob Wilkinson. You know, hey, I'm here. All right, let's go to Dalton, Rosta, and Aaron Jeffery. Dalton, Rosta, completely natural. How do you see this fight taking place?
So this is a rematch. Jeffery eked out the decision the first time. They opened Rosta at plus 100, and that lasted all of 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom, it went the other way. This is two careers going in different trajectory at this point. Rosta's definitely on his way up. And Jeffery, we just haven't seen any improvements going back to the John Salter fight. Like, he's the same fighter over and over and over again. Sometimes he does enough to win. Sometimes he loses these close decisions. So he gets the decision win against Rosta in 2023. That was Dalton Rosta before he was tested. That was before Dalton fought Norbert Novinley Jr. What a fight. If you guys ever have a chance to go back and watch that fight, what a fight. And keep an eye out for that name, because whoever signs that guy, he is going to be a problem. And he does what he's supposed to do against Sadabusi. Say what you will about Sadabusi, he's a former champion. So this guy is down to former champion, submitted him, finished him, which a lot of people haven't been able to do who can wrestle. I just don't believe that the offense of Aaron Jeffery is going to be enough to sway the judges. The bigger moments and the bigger spots are going to come from Dalton Rosta, and he showed that he can go deep into fights now. He's got the experience. So give me Rosta, man. I still even like the number. I think he's minus 135. That's still playable to me. I honestly am struggling to see who beats Rosta. I think we might be looking at our champion in that guy.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only minus 125 on DraftKings. So if you're a Rosta fan, you got great numbers that are out there. So, all right, let's move on to Antonio Carlos Jr. versus Simeon Powell. I will let you start. What do you think?
We made money on both guys. We made some great money with Simeon Powell against Karl
Yes.
Albrektsson. That was great. How does he draw that matchup, by the way? Karl Albrektsson to start? That's your entry fight?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
who do they...
we get to bet against Karl Albrektsson again on this card.
Can't
This
wait.
is great. It's great.
Coming.
What a great night.
We get him and Connor Matthews on the same card at some point. We'll be
Now we're
set
cooking.
to go. Now we're cooking. ACJ, do you agree that something looks different about him this year? He seemed like last year he was just there. He seemed really focused. I thought that was a great performance against Carl Moore. I really did. I know it was a split. Carl Moore is no joke. He is a legitimate fighter. So they didn't give him some cupcake in the first round like Powell got with Albrektsson. You know,
Right.
legitimate fighter who's well-rounded and could fight everywhere. And he did what he had to do to get the win. The grappling was obviously the star of the show. Never got clipped by the striping of Moore. Never gave him a chance to breathe. And we've seen Powell let people get inside of his range. Simeon Powell has a longer reach than John Jones. Wrap that around your head for a second. But he lets people inside. John's not going to let you get inside. That was the difference. I just think that if ACJ gets in there and gets the takedown, it's big-time trouble for Simeon Powell. Big-time trouble. I would not be laying the chalk on Simeon Powell in this spot. This is by far the hardest opponent that he's ever had to face. And we've seen in big moments like the PFL Europe Finals, he could drop the ball and get KO'd. So we've already seen him drop the ball once. He had a bit of a cupcake matchup. I'm going to take the underdog in ACJ in this fight, and wouldn't be shocked to see Simeon get checked again and taken down a peg. I think he needs to do a little bit more work on his cage grappling and control.
Give me the under all day in this one. ACJ first round submission or Powell knockout in round 2. I think that it's just, Carlos Jr. Once he gets you on the ground, he's deadly. He's had cardio issues in the past. Powell's just way better on the feet. We saw Powell get the knockout in his last fight. So I know it's against Albrektsson, but he just weathered the early storm, let Albrektsson tire himself out, and then torched him in the second. So I just love unders in this one. Of all the fights on this, well, we'll get to the next one. But Antonio, yeah, Carlos Jr. and Powell unders galore for this one. So, all right. Speaking of the next one, we talked about this in the UFC video. How somebody was saying, they were hoping to not see a certain somebody ever fight again, and we're saying no. You want Tim Johnson on all of your fight cards. You need these money making opportunities. You need these kill or be killed guys who are mostly getting killed. So if you see a fighter that's losing all the time, you don't want him cut. You say no. You keep these guys on the roster. So Romanov gets here with one of the weirdest submissions ever. And I went back and watched it. And I don't even think it was a submission. I think Tim Johnson broke a rib somehow or something. He might have broken his own rib. But this 19-3 record for Romanov does not tell the story. You like Valentin Moldavsky big, don't you?
I do. I've heard these things about the size. I mean, here's the other thing. If you go to Romanov's profile here, let's keep in mind, so what does Alexandr want to do? He wants to grapple you. He wants to take you down early and often, and he wants to smash you through the ground. The submission threat really isn't there. He doesn't have diverse submissions. I'd say a triangle. He's not going to go for a guillotine, a head and arm choke maybe. But he has never fought anybody who is proficient in combat sambo before. Now I know combat sambo, not really a hotbed of talent. It's not your main source of talent. But look, all these Russians, all Khabib's guys, they're all combat sambo. Merab, combat sambo. This is what these guys all fought in. He's going to go up against this with Moldavsky. Their agility and their judo to fend off takedowns is fantastic. It's one of the characteristics of that style. It is dynamic throws and sweeps. So when Romanov comes in for this blasting double leg takedown, I just think it's going to be like a bull in a matador. And Moldavsky's going to be able to just move out of the way, toss him to the side. And if Moldavsky ends up on top of Romanov, set your stopwatch. Because there's going to be a point where Romanov says, I don't want to fight anymore. And it's going to come quick the second that he gets tired. Could he take down Moldavsky in the first round and lay on him and hold him down for the whole round? Yes. But they got to start on the feet again in the second. Valentin has had the much higher level of competition his entire career. He's one of Fedor's guys. You know that Fedor, the greatest heavyweight of all time, is going to have a game plan. He has fought this game plan before. So I just think this all adds up on the Moldavsky side. This is the end of the run for Romanov in the post-UFC era. So we might see him next year, but we also don't know how dedicated he even is to his own career.
Yeah, he's got no cardio. He still looked like a tub of shit. I mean, he did. He came out as like, it's like, God, you're lucky you're fighting Tim Johnson. Think about going from Tim Johnson to Valentin Moldavsky. Slight difference in the speed on the feet. Just a slight difference with the agility on the feet. And by the way, this Moldavsky Billestini fight was awesome. That was an awesome fight. Yeah. Do this. Put the Moldavsky Billestini in one like view, one box, and put the Romanov Tim Johnson fight, and which one looks to be a little bit better quality than the other. It's going to be. I'm with you. I think Moldavsky schools Romanov, and like you said, even if Romanov wins the first round, he ain't winning rounds 2 and 3. No way. So we can make real quick work of Biaggio, Ali Walsh, and Ronnie Gibbs. Biaggio, Ali Walsh, Muhammad Ali's grandson. They're bringing up slowly. I mean, real slow. And they're giving him these guys that haven't fought and have one fight. I was able to find a little bit on Ronnie Gibbs. I mean, what are we doing here?
That's
couldn't find.
It was the Street Beefs. That's the Street Beefs profile picture.
It's Biaggio, Ali Walsh. If he wants to finish, he can. Cage time is really important for Biaggio, Ali Walsh, so be careful with taking props. We saw this in his debut. He could have finished this guy, Palacio, and he didn't. It was very obvious that they wanted to get 3 rounds of cage time. But then he blows Brian Stapleton out of the water, and this guy, if he takes a couple of good shots from Walsh, may get out of there. Gibbs, I've seen him try and get takedowns. Good luck. You're going to have to get Walsh down and finish him. Walsh has shown bad striking defense, but Gibbs is not going to be taking advantage, and Walsh is minus 1,200, so you don't need to hear us ramble on about how Biaggio Ali Walsh is going to win this fight. So we move on. Rodrigo
for the sub. The one thing
you think
he
they're
hasn't
wanting
done
to get
yet,
him a sub?
The one thing he hasn't done yet has got a sub.
All right.
Just throwing that out there.
Rodrigo, Nascimento, and Oleg Popov. Oleg Popov. I will never forgive this man for beating Karl Williams I actually never forgive Carl Williams for clapping after that fight. Don't clap. Don't be happy for him. What was that, Karl? You beat the man. If ever there was a fight in PFL that's going over, it is this one. This is going to be a whole lot of nothing. What would you set the over under of total strikes landed in this fight?
Oh, it depends how they want to count it. There's going to be a lot of little pitter patters. I'll tell you that much. There'll be a lot of those up against the fence. You know, you're punching the guy like this while you're taking him down.
Yeah.
So it depends how they want to score it, but this is going to be a wrestling match. We all know it. It's a pop-off fight. What do they always become? Wrestling matches. It's that simple. Nascimento was supposed to come in and make a big splash. He goes to decision with Abraham Babley. Really, really bad look. Really bad look. I thought
split.
It was a close one, too. I thought he looked out of shape his first fight. I'll be interested to see him on the scale. Looked like he just came in soft and kind of expected to win. And then got himself into a dogfight that he almost lost. So we were like one judge away from another failed UFC purchase for PFL. So, again, be careful with these former UFC guys. Popov by decision. Set it and forget it. They love Popov.
Yeah.
The judges love Popov. Everybody loves Popov except Carl Williams. Well, even Carl Williams loves Popov, apparently.
Dana White would cut Popov after his first fight. No way. That's enough single leg takedowns.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Pop-off by decision. Call it a day.
All right. Rafael, Xavier, and Karl Albrektsson. I'll let you go first. How do you break this one down?
Is this going to be our new come on, Karl? Because Carl Williams is dead to us. We got another Karl over here.
That's true.
We got to hope Karl gets some more fights after this. Rafael Xavier makes his debut. Takes Simeon Powell to a split. Really, really good showing. And it's not so much that he took him to a split. If you watch the fight, he looked great. Cardio checked out. Everything checked out in that fight. And it was like, where has this guy been that they've been hiding? Doesn't have the toughest level of competition. What I like about him is that he's been active over a long period of time. And he's put a lot of win streaks together. Other thing I love about him is he's very, very hard to finish. He's been finished once in his career by knockout, never been submitted. We go to Karl. 7 weeks ago, he was face down in the canvas in the cage with Simeon Powell. By elbow knockout to the temple. Legitimate knockout. His cardio fell off an absolute cliff in round 2. He was doing everything he had to do in round 1. But just like every Karl Albrektsson fight, what happens in round 2? He falls apart. He either falls apart or his opponent is so bad that they can't make the adjustments. Rafael Xavier's not that bad. He's going to make the adjustments. So we're going to fade the guy who just got knocked out, sent right back into the ring with a prospect that they obviously said, wait a minute, we might not have something with this guy. We're going to make this the first fight of the night. Why do they have these guys on the card? Rafael Xavier by knockout. I hope we get Karl one more fight this season. We can do one more, Karl.
Yeah, don't be surprised if Karl Albrektsson wins the first round by pushing him up against the fence and keeping him there. But make no mistake, his cardio will rear its ugly head in round 2, and his lack of durability will rear its ugly head at some point during the fight. So yeah, it's definitely Xavier, and Xavier probably by finish. So, all right, that is going to do it for us. We have a 5% PFL Best Bet that is up. We also have our UFC pack that is up, still maintaining that number 1 spot in MMA profits at Wager Talk. Join us. These are all of our plays that we bet with our money. We are as invested in them as you guys are. So make no mistake, whenever we put out a play, we are putting our money on it. So join us, and don't forget to join us on the Winning in the Shadows YouTube channel for Takedown Live when we do our live shows for the fight events. Live bets have been absolutely fantastic. I will be live for the UFC show on Saturday, so make sure you join us. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Good luck on your bets, and take care.
Good luck, guys.